Just one more cup. Don't talk to me till I've had my coffee. What is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new reaction, and welcome to day number 4 of Reactmas. If I'm drinking coffee, you know it's been a rough morning, but has it been as bad as possibly living in London? I don't know. Because today we're checking out the dark side of living in London. I don't know the actual statistics or facts, but I feel like London's probably the most designated travel city in the UK, you know? Y'all definitely get the most tourists, you know? If people are going to the UK, most likely you're gonna be going to London. That's just visiting. What's it like actually living there? What's the dark side of London? If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, drop a like for more reactions like this. Drop a like for Reactmas, baby. 25 days straight of videos across 2 channels, this channel and Anna and JT, link down in the description. And also a percentage of all of the revenue that we make across 2 channels this entire month. We are going to take that money, go to the store and buy a whole bunch of supplies for my local animal shelter, then go donate it. So if you want to help us out, all you gotta do, watch the videos, hit that like button, share it with a friend, your grandma, your uncle's brother, you know, your dad. Yeah, your uncle's brother would be your dad. Or your other uncle. Share it with one of them. But other than that, let's get into it.
The dark side of living in London. London is such a city with a brand name, a marvellous city where things are working. For those who love a decent city with all amenities of life and still serves as an industrial and cultural centre, London, the capital and largest city in England, in the southeast is a city to consider.
See, I like cities, but I like visiting cities. I like being there for a day or two and then leaving and coming back to the woods. You know, this is where I love to be. I know a lot of people love the city life and living in the city. It's just not for me. That's low-key my worst nightmare. Having to live in a city, I couldn't do it.
Metropolitan city near the mouth of the River Thames in England has the loyalty of residents and others dreaming to taste the modest way of life in this exemplary European city. Ah, my London. Yeah. This is not to propose that everything about London is just fine.
Bro, that is beautiful. Oh my goodness.
The dark side of London, if spotlighted, may scare conservative individuals away from the city. Okay, as good as the city is, let me show you the dark side of London in this video. 1. Racism.
Oh.
To be fair, the United Kingdom and its capital, London, cannot be on any credible list of the world's worst countries and cities for racism. Nevertheless, the city is having its fair share of contention with this societal ill.
I mean, the very, very, very sad reality, the sad truth about just this entire world is racism exists everywhere. Every town, every city, every state, every country, the entire world has some sort of racism, you know? And that is terrible. I hate it. Who doesn't hate it, you know? If you don't hate it, click off the video. I don't want you watching this video, you know? But I did not expect racism to be, one of the worst things about living in London, you know? I didn't know there was that much happening.
Perhaps as a spillover from the United States situation. Even without the stats, Londoners tend to be unfriendly at times, maybe due to the city's stress. It seems that strangers aren't so much loved. It may not be pleasant to be around core Londoners. This can sometimes be mistaken for racism, but it's not always due to racial discrimination. That's just London for you. If, however, anyone thinks London is completely free of the menace, perhaps they should start looking at the government's own figures between the line. You'll then have an idea of social injustice and inequality, and faced by black and minority ethnic groups in London and the entire country. While the authorities
I think, and this is just my little 2 cents, I think everybody should love everybody. Regardless of whatever, you know, whatever. Everybody should love everybody. Just point blank period. That just spread some love, you know?
Officially don't approve of racism. Traces of ethnic and racial inequalities taint employment spread, housing graphs and the justice system. Why would thousands of Britons, including Londoners, join the Black Lives Matter protest not so long ago, even after the government appealed to the people to stay home? If you see it that way, it indicates that decades of racism have eroded the public trust in institutions. Reporting on this, CNN once exposed how Britain has failed to deal with systemic racism. This is one of the negative sides of living here. 2. The weather can get depressing.
Feel that. Hey, come spend a week in Kentucky. Yeah. Currently, it is 19 degrees Fahrenheit here. Yeah. With 20-mile-per-hour wind is bad. You can't go outside. Yesterday, it wasn't as cold, but it was still pretty cold. I went to the car wash, try to wash my truck. I was spraying, like, the soap on my truck. And as soon as I would spray it, I would watch it freeze on my truck. As soon as I sprayed it, it'd be bubbles, and then it would freeze and turn into ice. It was so cold. It was bad.
Ah, the London British weather. If you're moving to London, please don't forget your brolly. That's on the lips of everyone living in the city because...
Brolly? Is that umbrella?
It rains a lot, and the weather in this city can change abruptly, from boiling, scorching to torrential downpours, hail, wind, at the drop of a hat. It can sometimes make moving around particularly difficult and depressing. But that's why Brits living in London are so obsessed, and you'll soon get used to it and enjoy it. After all, Britain's not known as a green and pleasant land, right? Thanks to the weather, the city gets watered regularly, and once you get the hang of having your
the city gets watered.
umbrella with you at all times, you won't even think about it again. Even then, the city does have some wonderful weather. Yep, summertime in London can be glorious. Imagine temperatures regularly hitting 80 degrees Fahrenheit, or even beyond on some occasions.
Yeah.
You've got to take advantage of those occasions and hit one of those wonderful parks in London for biking, walking, or picnicking.
That's got to be the best 2 weeks of y'all's life, huh?
Enjoy the good weather while it lasts, as things can be depressing on other days. Little wonder why Londoners are rushing outside to make the most of the sun's appearance before the grey overcast skies take over.
See, I really think the UK and Kentucky, the one thing we can really relate to each other with is the weather. Like, everybody around here says, if you don't like Kentucky weather, just wait a minute, it will change. And I feel like it's the same exact way in the UK.
3. The cost of living is high. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the biggest cities in the world, you know, or most popular cities, so that makes sense.
This is the dark side of London. Everybody admits that living in the city is pricey. Of course, the same can always be said about any big or capital city. Nevertheless, though, London can especially get you jaded or avaricious. You may be in the top 10% of the worldwide income range and still feel poor as a London resident.
Dang.
You may have to lay out a lot to survive in a small flat and poor as a London resident.
Wait. Why do I love just the random blocks of wood on the wall like that? That actually looks sick. Oh my gosh, that's cool.
You have to lay out a lot to survive in a small flat and commute to work, such that you're left with what little that you won't take you far when you have to factor in the cost of eating and drinking. When newly moving to London, try not to do currency conversion when you spend. Otherwise, you'll feel like you're blowing an average person's weekly wage on just one meal.
Dang. See, whenever I watch videos like this, I try to compare it to something like here in America. And I always compare London to New York. Just because it's a big city, people are always visiting, the cost of living's high, stuff like that, you know? And then I, compare it to where I live, middle of the woods of Kentucky, you know? The difference is insane. Like, the cost of living in New York City and here in rural in the middle of nowhere of Kentucky is different, you know?
You'll also see people getting well along with a fraction of your budget. While London is undoubtedly not the cheapest place to live, it's nonetheless not the most expensive when you compare other European cities vis-a-vis wages.
Yeah.
The pays are higher in London than in many other cities in Europe, and London pays the highest in the UK. This should counteract the higher prices and make living in London more affordable.
Yeah.
And if you can live in less central areas, such as Brixton, Camden, Hackney, Maida Vale or Walthamstow, you may also be spending less. 4.
Dude, the way the building curves with the street is insane to me. Like, that looks so sick.
Maida Vale or Walthamstow, you may also be spending less.
Why is there just a pile of garbage on the corner? What are we doing?
4. London can be dirty.
Oh, that's why. I mean, look, just a big old pile of garbage. I was like, hey,
less.
I guess they
4.
can be dirty.
London can be dirty.
As most cities, though. A lot of cities, they're going to be dirty.
I want to resist the urge to add this. I don't want to join London critics who insist that London is dirty. After all, it's not dirty when compared to many other major European and North American cities.
Yeah.
I dare say it's far cleaner than New York and Paris.
Oh,
being
1,000,000%. Dude, I've never been to New York, of course, but I've like seen videos and stories about how dirty New York is. Like, there's just rats the size of my cat just running around on the street, and it's just normal, you know? And you know how much garbage and how dirty a place has to be for a rat to get that size, you know?
Constantly cleaned. Although the cleaners have to cope with limited bins in central London, no thanks to the threat of terrorism. However,
yes, that is true. They had to get rid of all the bins because people were like, terrorists would threaten to put bombs in the trash cans and stuff. That is insane.
when you wake up in the morning and find that foxes have scattered all over your pavement the rubbish inside your bins, who won't say that the city's dirty? The city's
I didn't even think about like foxes and stuff, yeah.
huge rat problem is one of the reasons why it's considered dirty. You can't argue that a rat-infested community is clean.
Hey, the New York rats make this thing look like a little mouse, you know? New York rats make this look like a little pimp squeak. It's ugly, but kind of cute at the same time.
Living or working in London for 6 months, you must have seen at least one rat scuttling down a street. Unfortunately, though, these rodents are a health
Look at the feet on that thing.
hazard, as they're carriers of disease. What about air pollution, though? Check your hanky later in the day and those black bits under your fingernails, and then form your own opinion. Air pollution is becoming a matter of great concern for the city. It's reported to contain dangerous levels of toxic air due majorly to road traffic, construction industries, and wood burning. Even the smell in the tube can sometimes be nauseating. Yes, London is one of the world's
I do feel like the tube, like, I feel like that would get stinky. Like, all it takes is for a couple stinky people to get in there at the same time you are, and the whole place is just wrong, you know?
most hygienic cities to live in or visit, and it's also one of the dirtiest destinations in Europe.
Huh.
5. Surveillance is a constant.
What?
The UK authorities are concerned about crime and criminality, and they're determined not to leave any stone unturned. There's a good reason for this to be. They ordinarily shouldn't be a dark side of living in London. I want to consider London safer than most of the world's cities, yet there have been pockets of the subject of terrorist attacks in the past, and the threat of terrorism is still here and there, and the same with street crime. Here's the not-so-good news. If you live long enough in London, you'll probably experience something, either minor or major, bearing semblance to crime. Bone snatchers, pickpockets are still operating. There are stories of bags being nicked from under the restaurant tables while owners are relaxing.
I mean, it kind of makes sense that there's, like, pickpocketers and phone stealers and stuff like that in London because there's so many tourists there, you know? So, like, it would definitely be a hot spot for the little petty theft and stuff like that.
To combat this, CCTV cameras are installed everywhere. Therefore, you have some level of confidence that anyone trying to put in harm's way is being seen somewhere, somehow.
I mean, the reason for it is definitely a dark thing, you know, all the little theft and crimes and stuff like that. But that's a good thing. Having security cameras everywhere, that is a good thing to have. Like, yeah, you kind of feel like you're being watched, but you almost want that when you're out in a city and, like, out in the public, so, hey.
This serves as a deterrent for crime. However, that's not convenient in this world obsessed with freedom and privacy. In fact, London is reported to be the most spied upon city on Earth. It has the most CCTV cameras per square foot.
I mean, as long as they're not, like, in the bathrooms or in my house, I'm fine with it, you know?
Well, I'm not about to scare you away from London, but the fact that your privacy is not all that private, you're being watched. In addition to that, though, there's heavy police presence everywhere in London. Too much. Yes, it's in the interest of your safety. You're not likely to be assisted to control
Is that an MP5? Ain't that off of Call of Duty?
a major incident. 6. Traffic is crazy.
Yeah.
London Bridge
I mean,
better not
it's a city. The traffic's gonna be crazy, you know?
fall down as it's being rhymed for nursery kids. For anyone born and bred in a city without traffic congestion, the dark side of London is the crazy traffic. The daily commute is hell for many Londoners. If you'd ever experienced one of those signal failures and congestions on the lines, you won't want to see it again.
See, I have never been somewhere driving where I have been held up in standstill traffic. It just doesn't happen. Like, I've never visited a city that big where you get in there and the traffic is standstill like that. So I could not imagine just trying to go to work or go to the grocery store, and to make it 2 miles down the road, it takes you an hour and a half. Like, dude, that would suck.
The supply of more trains has done just a little to ameliorate the situation. If you're in central London, you'll see the effect of overcrowding on the traffic. There's no way around it. There has to be an efficient public transport system with lots of vehicles and trains to enable everyone to move around 24/7. Thanks to the buses, the tube system, and overground trains, among others. You spare yourself this traffic stress if you don't have a car, as there's absolutely no need to own one. Life in London can be really exciting, but also exhausting.
Yeah, I don't think, if I lived in London, I don't think I would own a car, because I wouldn't want to drive in that. I would just use the tube and the buses, you know?
However, you must be ready to give up a lot before you decide to leave the city. At the same time, though, you have to make sacrifices many times while remaining there.
But alright guys, that is going to do it for today's reaction. If any of y'all live in London, let us know. Is it as bad as they're saying? I'm sure a lot of y'all watching this probably lived or live in London right now, so y'all let us know down in the comments. Y'all drop a like for day 4 of Reactmas. We're just getting started, 21 more days. Wait, that means there's 21 days until Christmas. Oh no. Oh no. Audio cut out, but I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I will see y'all tomorrow. It's JTReacts. I'm out. Peace.